As you can see, there's a lot of people looking at this house, and it's only been on the market for a short time. I'm going to take us outside. Again, walking around. This is the dining room. Off of the dining room, there is a sliding door, as is typical in these kinds of houses. Once you get out, a nice little touch, by the way, is everything that's in here that has a light switch on it. They've actually taken the time to label what the light switch does. Out in the actual enclosure for the pool, there is a ceiling fan that is in an enclosed area. The enclosed area has furniture in it. It also has a nice little touch in that they put up a privacy fence, even though it's missing a piece that we'll replace. That gives you the ability to have a little bit of privacy from the next door neighbors, in addition to right outside where that 6-foot privacy fence goes around the yard. You're looking at that magnolia tree that I talked about in the first one. So what you have out here is a little bit more than normal in that they actually framed the ceiling in here, which is a good thing. It is a ceiling fan that needs to be replaced. There's a piece of shit outside light that needs to be replaced with something more decorative that provides accent lighting. That tree's got to go, I'm sorry. And then they have upscale pipe furniture, which is a sitting area for that little enclosure underneath. There's a pair of chaises, another pair of chaises, and then over in the corner, that blue thing is actually a thermal blanket for the pool, which is a nice little upgrade. If you again look at this, what you see is a lot of mold, because this has been sitting here for a while. So if you look at it, this desperately needs to be pressure washed, because all of the screen enclosure verticals and horizontals are all covered with green mold, including, like, you're looking at this and you really can't quite see it, maybe, but the screens themselves are actually covered with mold because this has been sitting here unused for a while. There is a planting bed in the corner that had something in it once upon a time which died. You can see where this back here needs to be pressure washed. But then once you get done with the pressure washing, trimming up that palm tree and getting rid of all the dead crap in the bottom, getting rid of all of that, which is basically grass that is growing out because it reseeded in that planting bed inside here. The other planting bed has not had that problem, but yes, it still needs to have the palm tree trimmed. And then what you're looking at down here in the pool is a science project. It would not be a big deal to bring this back. I have people that can do that. It's not something that will stop your heart. But up on the actual horizontal railing, or rail rather, of the ceiling, you can see where this needs to be pressure washed badly. The actual enclosure up above, you really probably can't see it, but it's covered with green, which around here is pretty typical. The good news is that the house itself, if you look past the obvious flaws of what's going on here, there's nothing wrong with the house at all. It's all in pretty good shape. So what you have, which is rather unusual in this kind of a house, is that all the way across the back of it, there is a covered over area, which in most of the houses in this development is something that you really don't get the covered area to get out of the sun. Once you step outside the back door, you're in the direct sun and you can't really do anything about it. Now, in this particular house, the main thing that I would be focusing on is doing something with this over here, because that right there is a built-in hot tub with a clear glass block waterfall, and behind it there is a planting area where everything died. There's a sprinkler head in it that keeps everything alive, but nothing's going on in there. You can see where all the dead grass was growing across the actual flat place out there. And you can also see over here where some of the weeds have come out and are starting to grow toward it. But if you look at what that is and what it could be, over to the left of it, you can see the control for the hot tub. There are jets built into it, and there's enough seating capacity that there is a step in it, and then there's also seating for 6 people. So this is something that's kind of a rarity in this particular thing, in that the hot tub itself is really oversized. Normally what they fit was 4 people. There is nothing wrong with the whole screen enclosure. All the screens are good. What needs to be done out here is to replace the indoor ceiling fans with exterior ceiling fans. It's like, come on guys, give me a break. And then you know, there's other things out here that can be done, like take that spotlight fixture and turn it into indirect lighting, so that there's much more of a what would you call it, go out here in the evening and enjoy the ambiance kind of a feel. If you look in the corner, you can see a jet that's above the water line. If you follow this around to the edge over here, you can see a jet that's above the water line. If you follow that around even further, you can see over here that there's a jet above the water line. Once this thing gets turned on and starts running, this is going to be a gorgeous pool. You can also see from the previous video, outside the screen enclosure, there is a privacy hedge that's built all the way around it. It has some problems at the moment in that it badly needs to be fertilized, but other than that, it's good. And over here is the dog door I was talking about in the previous video. You can see what happens in the humidity out here. If you leave something out here that's an interior ceiling fan and doesn't have the right material built into the fan blades, they kind of get tired and wet. But in the meantime, this thing is quite a house. This could be a really good flip, and it will be worth all the money we would ask for it. That right there is something that there is a holder, if you will, that basically looks like something you'd put wrapping paper on a butcher shelf on, that would end up going right there, that would actually take that and put it onto a roller so that it can be just drawn off across the length of the pool over here, and end up taking this thing and saving all the heat that's in it to make the pool heater that we saw in the very first video something that actually works better.